Hey there, podcast listeners. This is Nick Dettmann with the next edition of the Dettmann Media Podcast, where we discuss and go over the latest tips and trends and analysis in social media and digital media marketing, as well as website design and website analytics. Really glad you can join me again here today. We got a lot of great, really important topics here to discuss today. Excuse me. The first order of business is certainly like to send out a thank you to my first sponsor for the podcast, and that is 5-Star Complete Asphalt Services based out of West Haven, Connecticut, where they take care of all of your asphalts and paving needs for your commercial or business or residential lots. So give them a call today or visit them online at 5starcompleteasphaltservices.com. Like I said, we got some great topics here to discuss. A couple of those things looking like will be related to the growing discussion about privacy and transparency and what user information is being tracked and how it's being stored. So with that in mind, the first topic is about the future of email marketing and the privacy debates and issues that are going forward. So as we've noted on this podcast a handful of times, and if you follow the blog, which you can do by subscribing to at nicholasdettmann.blogspot.com, you can get updates to your delivered right to your email inbox for the latest in social media news, tips, trends, and analysis. So like I said, if we've talked about this a handful of times, but certainly not definitely not overkill to keep discussion going and continue to make you aware of these trends. So the demand for the privacy, transparency, and more user control on the internet, and especially in smartphones and smart devices, tablets, and so forth, continues to grow. Several updates by Apple and Google have worked toward addressing these demands, which poses challenges for marketing going forward. Recently, I got a chance to watch a webinar hosted by Litmus, and it was about the state of email marketing and its future. Touched on several important topics and things we should definitely pay attention to. The discussion was led by two people. One was Cynthia Price, she's the VP of Marketing at Litmus, and Jessica Raggio, she's the VP of Product Marketing at Litmus. Among the topics covered was Apple's mail privacy protection policy that's slated to go into effect some point this month, here in the month of September. I've got a blog related to that topic on my blog, so head on over there and check that out. But there are a couple of takeaways that I had. One of the first ones I had was the emphasis on re-engaging your inactive subscribers. It was suggested to be more attentive to the inactive subscribers as it can lead to big results. It was also suggested that the return on investment, or the ROI, from re-engaging inactive subscribers could actually be better than the ROI for new subscribers. And the reason for that is because the subscribers, active or inactive, have already said that they want to engage with you and your brand. The relationship is set, so it's almost like reconnecting with a friend. And in most cases, the hardest part with connecting with consumers is getting them to subscribe to your newsletter or blog, whatever the case may be. So that's a great tactic to try and reconnect with those people who may have just kind of forgotten about you or were just in a different stage of their buyer journey. And see if you can re-engage with them. Try to say, hey, is there something that we can help you with? You still kind of interested in this topic or product or so forth? Does not hurt to ask. And at the very least, if they say no, then they'll likely unsubscribe, and then you'll be working off of those more concrete numbers of more engaging people, which can help your engagement rates and your returns on investments through your email marketing. So another key takeaway was really kind of simple, and that's start building your baseline of data now. What are your open rates? What are the click-through rates or the CTRs? When do you have better open rates? Who's your audience? Understanding your data now is really going to be important, so you can adjust accordingly and keep that in the back of your mind as we continue to see the slow filtration of how these privacy and these transparency settings with all these mobile apps and programs are actually how they're going to affect digital marketing and advertising. The webinar also did provide a state of email marketing report, and that is on my blog, and I've also included the slides from the presentation. So a lot of really good information, a lot of good discussion there. So head over to my blog to get a little bit more information about that. So the next item is kind of a short item, and it has to do with LinkedIn. If you remember, several months ago, LinkedIn decided it was going to roll out its LinkedIn Stories feature, which is just like the Instagram and Facebook. It's that reel of stories right at the top of the news feed when you log on to the app. But with LinkedIn, unfortunately, it did not appear to catch on like it has with Instagram and the other mobile apps and social media sites that have adopted that. So with that in mind, LinkedIn has decided that they will end that feature by the end of this month here in September. So a message that I received from LinkedIn said, quote, or LinkedIn, quote, said, quote, "We just announced some big changes coming to LinkedIn Stories. And as an admin of a page that has published stories in the past, we wanted to make sure you are among the first to know that on Monday, September 30th, we plan to suspend LinkedIn Stories in their current design, and we'll be working on a new format that better supports the needs of our unique professional users." So what does that mean? So starting on September 30th, page admins will no longer be able to upload stories to LinkedIn, and members will not be able to view them. There's more about the change that can be read on my blog. And an additional quote from LinkedIn said, quote, "We recommend that you pause any further creative development for LinkedIn Stories after that time," which is September 30th. We apologize in advance if this causes any inconvenience, but know that we are excited to continue investing in this product in the future. And then that's an end quote. So for more information about how that could affect your organization, I have a link but it has some comments from LinkedIn about explaining the process and what they might be trying to do. I mean, personally, I did not really see a value with LinkedIn Stories, and to me, I actually had a hard time uploading to it, so that could have been part of the problem. Is just people just weren't catching on, and the process may have been a little too difficult. So I don't imagine it's staying away long. Maybe they're just kind of retooling it at this point. So something to keep in mind if that's a function that you do like to use on LinkedIn that will no longer be available to you by the end of this month. And then the last item I want to touch on today is talking about looking into to the end of 2021, which now we're just about the last quarter of the year, or pretty close to it, and what we can kind of anticipate happening in 2022 from a social media and digital marketing standpoint. So App Annie was a great research company that helps with social media and digital advertising, has released a 32-page report that details what the kind of the end of the year projections will be and what we kind of can expect in the first quarter of 2022 as we kind of start to make our plans on how we want to generate content for over these next several months for the end of this quarter, or for the end of the quarter of 2021 and into the first quarter of next year. And according to the reports, really in a nutshell, video is going to be at the forefront of the evolving social media landscape. And we've kind of touched on that a number of times previously here on the podcast and throughout the blog. That video is just continuing to grow, and really the big reason for that is TikTok. And I've mentioned that a number of times. TikTok is here to stay. Has really elevated itself as a social media leader and a social media giant in a relatively short amount of time. So they've really kind of set the bar as far as how things are going to progress in social media, and that's what one part of this 32-page report, which if you do have time to take a look at it, it is worth the read. But we'll go over some of the key points that I got from the report. So Now, the report said, quote, TikTok has upended the streaming and social landscape with average monthly time per user surpassing YouTube in the United States and UK, and is making significant strides in South Korea. Total time spent in the top 5 social media apps, and those are listed as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, and Telegram. And with those 5 apps, those have an emphasis on live streaming and are set to surpass 500 billion hours on just Android phone usage alone, outside of China in 2021. The report said, quote, live streaming is driving growth and engagement for social apps, which sets them up for consumer spending. And speaking of consumer spending, look for that to continue its upward trend for the remainder of this year and into 2022. As we well know, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced many consumers and businesses to rethink about how to shop and sell their products and sell their products. With many brick and mortar stores forced to close because of the pandemic, whether it was temporary or more long-term or permanent, coming up with new revenue streams has been at the forefront of these businesses and how to get some revenue. And over the last several months, social media apps are working to assist in that area, connecting businesses to shoppers in a different way. We're seeing, like, for example, Instagram and TikTok are offering online stores within their apps. So that's one great example of how social media apps and businesses are, I don't know if you want to say they are working together, but they are coming together in how to enhance the shopping experience for the consumer and for the business, and to make things easier on both ends. So after the fourth quarter in 2019, consumer spending through the social media was at $14 billion. After the second quarter of 2021, so this would have been the end of June, that number jumped to $22 billion, and it's still expected to increase. And according to the report as well, 74 billion social media apps were downloaded through the end of the second quarter of this year. Again, that is the end of June. So the revenue opportunities are there because that is where people are going. And the last point I wanted to touch on here was looking at the time spent on the apps. And YouTube, it continues to be the leader. It has been now for the last 4 test periods, which is every 6 months with App Annie. They are followed by Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and TikTok. So in all, the report says consumers are shifting to a video-first social experience that favors content creators, but also giving them opportunities to be able to shop from home. So in quote from the report, short video, authentic content, and live streaming are pillars to cultivating deep engagement, with live streaming in particular driving growth in time spent. So really good information here for you. So if you're kind of thinking of what could work for you in 2022, looking into investing in more social media, but also how you can set up stores through social media apps are definitely going to be one way to increase revenue, or in trying to bring in some revenue as we move into 2022. So with that, that wraps up today's podcast here in Dettmann Media. Really, again, thanks so much for listening in. Again, the podcast is supported by 5-Star Complete Asphalt Services, based out of West Haven, Connecticut, where they take care of all of your crack filling, seal coating, and asphalt paving needs for your driveway, commercial parking lot, or walkway. So take a visit to 5-Star Complete Asphalt Services.com for more information and to get a free quote today. Until next time, everybody stay safe, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.